Hello there, this is Michael Chadwick, and we're going to be talking about the Martyr today in this presentation. Um, the, I would care to bet that the majority of us know at least one person in our lives that we interact with day to day that falls into this category, and you will soon see that they are not the easiest people to have a relationship with. But hopefully, by the end of this, we will figure out who they are and how we can interact or help them. First, let's look at who exactly are these people, the martyrs. In the survey done in the book that we have, they were actually cited as the second most difficult relationship, and if you know of one in your own personal day-to-day life, you would most likely agree with that. I know of at least a couple off the top of my head who are martyrs, and they are very, very difficult to deal with. But why? Partly because they feel neglected by the world. A lot of it is brought up in their childhood, their upbringing. They also often uh, to are often refused and really are kind of hurt themselves in the foot. Uh, they are burned at their own stake, as the book says. Um, but that's really why, because they need help, and it's clear to other people. And when other people try to help, they refuse that help, even though it's very obvious that they need it. They are defeated. Uh, they seem as though they are defeated. They give up way too quickly, and they suffer long-lasting defeat because they give up so easily. They are passive. If one were to coin a battle cry for martyrs, the book says it would be, I can't. I can't lose weight. I can't make new friends. I can't do anything in life that I want to do. I can't. I just can't. Uh, and it's really sad that martyrs make little effort to rally against these down beat thoughts. They think that they can't, so they're just not going to, and it's really kind of sad in this area. Martyrs are also really kind of addicted to self blame. Uh, if anything that can go wrong will go wrong in their lives, and they're most of the time the cause for what is going wrong. They often feel helpless as well. They have given up the reins and appear to be utterly hopeless because of the fact that they have given up so easily. They often can be irrational. They feel as though they are doomed, and many times they are actually kind of fortunate, relatively fortunate, uh, in what they have, so they're not as hopeless as they appear. But to them, because of that whole self-blaming thing and defeated, the fact that they feel defeated, they are irrational in the fact that they actually aren't as bad off as what they think. They are Brody. They often feel this unchecked brodiness, which prompts a string of demoralizing thoughts and future gloom. Also, they are worrisome. They are actually perpetual warriors who are really distracted from the truth. Uh, kind of going back to what I said earlier, they make up scenarios and events convinced that they will have a horrible time at a party, convinced that everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and that nobody will help them. Nobody wants to help them. Nobody really sees or cares about them. Uh, but the problem is they think about these things even before they walk out their door. So they convince themselves before they walk out their door, before they get into their cars and go to wherever they're going to, and they convince themselves so much that nothing is going to change their mind. So they're going to end up having a bad time. Now let's look at the characteristics of the martyr. As we've already really seen, they most always refuse help. So why do they do this? Well, first of all, they feel diminished by whatever they accept from others. Uh, they do this because they often experience anxiety, uh, and many times when people experience pleasure and a sense of security. So they really don't have a time where they feel secure. They don't have a time where they really experience very much pleasure. They're just anxious all the time because what can go wrong will go wrong most of the time. That's the mindset has been. But really, at the root of all of this is a strong need for control and a fear of dependency. They don't want to feel like they have to depend on others all the time. They long for the control of their life. Really, whenever it comes down to it, the greater the need, the harder the martyrs will fight. If it's clear that they really need the help, they will fight so hard uh, because they don't want to feel like they need to owe you back or or anything like that. Uh, when we uh, see stories of people who offer help or actually just do a deed for somebody else and then the other person gets mad because they did it. We see that when martyrs resist caring gestures whenever they get mad when people do stuff for them, it usually means that they're anxious. Not that they don't like or they don't care for the the person who's doing the good deed, is that they're anxious. Once again, this whole idea that uh, they fear the dependency on from other people. Next, martyrs are stuck in a mindset that sees no middle ground between lone wolf independence and childlike helplessness. Also, martyrs are a fear of losing control, kind of going back to all of this that we talked about first, and the fact that they feel diminished and by whatever others offer them. But it's kind of interesting that all this self-sufficiency masks serious problems that these people have. Problems that uh, really go in line with uh, the emotional isolation that they impose on themselves. They're most of these people are going to be shy because they don't want to feel that dependent upon other people. In some of these instances as well, martyrs' need for control manifests itself not in self-sufficiency, but in self-sacrifice. They will actually do things for other people because these martyrs, not all of them, but these martyrs, the people who do the self-sacrifice, enjoy collecting grievances. These are the ones that you really have to look out for. because they will put the guilt game directly on. Uh, Also, they fear rejection. Uh, the martyrs fear the rejection of others, which is probably one of the main reasons why they don't ask for help. While a few martyrs may look like control freaks, their unwillingness to ask for help or receive anything from other people can cover for hurt, fear, or a deep sense of feeling unworthy about themselves. They learned this in childhood that their needs were not important, uh, so end up thinking that they don't deserve anything nice, which is really sad. That the fact that all of this starts in the house is really sad. Uh, they just fear the rejection in many cases. Alright, now that we have looked into who the martyr is and the different characteristics of the martyr, let's see how we can help or really better interact with these people. First, we have to make the martyr within. If you're looking at the different characteristics and who the martyr is, you'll realize that uh, we most people realize that they have some of the same characteristics. But if we're able to make smarter with it, then that means that we are going to be able to better help or understand the martyr in a way that we possibly did not know before. Next, we don't need to expect much change. Key phrase I have for martyrs is patience. Patience sometimes is a four-letter word in most cases with us, but it's key. Really, if you're going to remain involved in a relationship with the person who is a martyr, we have to lower our expectations. They are going to change slowly. It's going to be a very, very long process. And most of the time, this transformation occurs very gradually across long periods of time. We're not talking about hours, we're not talking about days, we're not talking about weeks. We're really talking about years and years and years of trying to help people. Ultimately, this is for ourselves, and the fact that if we lower our expectations, we lower our level of frustration. If you go into this thing with very low expectations, you're not going to get as frustrated as you are if you go with high expectations and are not meeting those high expectations. Next, we gotta get the martyrs laughing. They are so serious. In many cases, martyrs seem to believe they deserve to suffer. Going back to the idea that everything is their fault, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. They believe that they are destined to suffer. Really, we have to take every opportunity to add a little comedic relief to the life of the martyrs, because their life is so serious and they suffer from anxiety, sometimes depression, that they need a little comedic relief from time to time to just kind of like cut loose, to loosen up their minds for even just a second. Next, we have to stay clear of advice. If you're like me, that's kind of hard to do. But I like what the book says. It says, trying to give advice to martyrs is like trying to talk a police officer out of a ticket. after you just ran a red light. It's not going to happen. Uh, they always will answer yes, but, and then give you a list of reasons why their problems will not fit into your solutions. Because their problems are bigger than any advice that you can give. So, I also like what the book says, so don't bang your head against the wall repeatedly trying to solve a martyr's problems with your advice. Your advice will not work. Uh, like it says, banging your head against the wall. You can offer all the advice you want, they are not going to listen. They're not going to do what you say because they think they've already tried it. They think that they can't be fixed. Next, you have to find a way to solve them if you can. Once again, if you are patient with your friends who are martyrs, you will be able to crack the code and solve the mystery on what's the actual underlining problem. And if you're able to help them pinpoint their problem, you're actually raising their awareness of the main problem that they have, and possibly bringing them closer to the place of action, of actually, in a sense, helping themselves. If you're able to show them their their main problem, they know what that problem is, and you wouldn't have to really help them because they'll fix it themselves, attempt to fix it themselves. Next, you have to avoid the guilt trap. Martyrs are masters of inducing guilt. In addition to blaming themselves, they often blame the weather, the business, their childhood, and even you for some of the problems that they are having. After all, it is easy to feel that you are somehow not doing enough to help them through their pain, or that you could or even should do more to help them, even though you are doing the most that you can, because they're not going to hear it. The truth is, you can never do enough. So don't put yourself in a place where you feel guilty, because even if you do everything for them, you're still not going to do enough. Next, we have to know the difference between self-pity and depression. There are a lot of similarities, but the biggest difference between depression and self-pity is that depression is much deeper and far more dangerous than self-pity is. If the martyr in your life have lost interest or pleasure in almost all of their usual day-to-day activities, pastimes, and if their mood is affecting their appetite, their sleep, their concentration, and all of these things, they may be suffering from depression. In fact, if they are doing these things, actually advise them to try to get professional help with this as much as you can. Hopefully, that they actually take that advice. Okay, lastly, we have to keep our tank full. What does that mean? Really make sure that you're not spending your whole energy on these people, just a certain type of people. We all have our lives. We all have different friends as well. We can't just spend all of our time with one people or one person. If you have ever endured an evening with these martyrs, you probably wound up feeling as as if you had been submerged in Elmer's glue. As the book says, martyrs can't discuss anything other uh, than uh, their melancholy, which spills onto, sticks to, and exhausts anyone who will listen. They will keep on telling stories. They will be the life in the party. Well, not really the life of the party. They will talk to everybody. They will tell the stories. They will uh, really just annoy anyone who's in the room. Because of this, you need to take special care for yourself to avoid being depleted of your own energy when you are around martyrs. They will deplete your energy, your energy level. They will make sure that you will go home tired after being with them for a night. Before long, you will have a good sense of how much you can endure before you need to break away and refuel. Really, that is going to take time. Once again, the key term with martyrs is patience. If you are patient with these people, it will help a lot. It will help you out. It will help them out. And really, it comes down to the fact that we need to help them see their problem, and hopefully they will be able to help themselves in discovering and fixing the problem that they have.